Well, good morning and welcome back to Kid Zone, you guys. We are picking up where we left off last week, where we were introduced to Moses and the book of Exodus. And if you remember, the book of Exodus basically continues the story of God's people from the book of Genesis. In Exodus, we find and we meet this man Moses, and we also see that God's people, who are called Israel at this time, they're stuck in slavery in Egypt. They're in a really, really terrible situation. Exodus 3 picks up from last week where Moses is living out in the wilderness. He's raising his family away from Pharaoh and away from the Israelites in slavery. So Moses and his father Jethro, his father-in-law Jethro, are out tending sheep, and they're leading them towards a mountain called Sinai, which is important just to keep track of because Mount Sinai will show up in Moses' story several different times. So they lead the sheep towards the mountain as they're grazing, and we see here in Exodus 3 that there is an angel of the Lord that appears to Moses in this blazing fire in the middle of a bush. Now, you may have heard this story before as like Moses and the burning bush. Moses was amazed in this moment because even though the bush was burning, it wasn't burning up, it wasn't turning to ash, it wasn't dying, and he wants to get closer. But before Moses can get closer to investigate, God calls his name and he says, "Moses, Moses," and gets his attention. Moses responds and replies, "Here I am." Like, "Hello, I'm here. What do you want?" So the Lord says to Moses, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for you are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." So Moses did exactly as God said, and then he covered his face in fear, which I think I would have done also. So God says to him, "I have heard the cries of help from my people Israel and how poorly the Egyptians are treating them. I am aware of their suffering. I have come to rescue them from slavery and take them and give them a beautiful new home. Now go, for I am sending you, Moses, to Pharaoh, and you must lead my people Israel out of Egypt." So here's what happens with Moses, you guys. He protests several times to God. The first time he says, "Who am I to do this? Why should they believe me?" And God responds, "I will be with you." So Moses protests again and says to God, "How will they believe me when I say God sent me? What is the name that I should tell them?" And God replies, "You tell them, I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, have sent me to you. They will accept you," God says, "and you must ask Pharaoh to let you go." Now, Exodus 3:19, God says very specifically to Moses, "I know that the king of Egypt still won't let you go. So I will raise my hand against the Egyptians and will do all kinds of miracles among them, and then he will let you go." But you guys, Moses protests again, and he says, "What if they won't listen to me or believe me?" And so God tells them, if they don't believe you, you can perform miraculous signs. Your shepherd's staff will become a snake when you lay it down, and when you pick it back up, it will become a staff again. And if they don't believe you, then you can do another miracle. And if they still don't believe you, you can do another miracle, and then they will believe you. But you guys, Moses protests again. "Lord, I am not good with words. I never have been, I'm not now, I never will be, even though you've spoken to me. I get tongue-tied and my words get tangled." And in Exodus 4:11, God responds to Moses by saying, "Who makes a person's mouth? Who decides whether people speak or do not speak, hear or do not hear, see or do not see? It is I. Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, and I will be with you as you speak, and I will instruct you in what to say. You think that would do it for Moses, but it doesn't. Moses protests again. Please, Lord, anybody but me. God responds with what seems like a compassionate and a kind response at this point, and he says, all right, how about your brother Aaron? He speaks well, and I will be with both of you as you speak. Aaron will speak for you the things that I tell you to say. Gosh, you guys, can you imagine what it would be like to be Moses and to be protesting to God again and again and again? 5 times he protests with God and says, not me, anybody but me. Now next week we're going to pick up the story with Moses and Aaron going to Pharaoh to ask him to let the people of Israel go from slavery, and we'll find out what happens then. Take some time today with the discussion questions, and we'll come back to Moses next week.